Welcome to the Sales Lead Dog Podcast, hosted by CRM technology and sales process expert Christopher Smith, talking with sales leaders that have separated themselves from the rest of the pack. Listen to find out how the best of the best achieve success with their team and CRM technology. And remember, unless you are the lead dog, the view never changes.
Welcome to Sales Lead Dog. My guest today is Michael Ritsema. He is the principal and president of i3 Business Solutions. Mike, welcome to Sales Lead Dog.
Glad to be here, Chris.
Awesome. Mike, tell me a bit about i3.
Yeah, i3 Business Solutions. Well, the brief history and time is I started at IBM in the 90s as a business partner, then worked for them for a year. Had a good run in sales through the 90s, got a little cocky, said, hey, I can do this. Bought a business in 2001, the tech recession of 2001. Almost went bankrupt, turned the business around, merged the business in 2004, and then the Great Recession hit in 2007. We're selling expensive IBM hardware and consulting. They sent our consultants home, and nobody was buying expensive hardware, which was getting cheaper. We pivoted. Okay, we had a little networking part of the business that we said, let's stomp on this accelerator, and started building this technology services called managed services and rotated to recurring revenue. I have an unhealthy fixation on recurring revenue. And today we support over 150 clients for cybersecurity and productivity. Our reliability managed services will make sure you don't get hacked by the bad guys. We'll implement the cybersecurity and will help you be more productive with technology. We essentially become the IT department, or we help the IT department.
Yeah. There's so many. I've been doing this a very, very long time. I've been in the tech space for almost 40 years now. And even 40 years now, I see there's just a lot of businesses that still don't understand how to leverage technology to help grow their business, which is a shame.
Yeah, it is. And it's changing so fast that, it's hard to keep up.
It really is. And that's I think, probably the biggest struggle with I don't care what role you play in the business, but just trying to keep up with the pace of change with technology and the way the customers are leveraging AI to become far more educated than they've had in the past. There's so much rapid change going on. It's pretty wild. Mike, when you look back over your career, you've been at i3 now for 22 years. You had a lot of success before that. If you were to boil it down to three things that have really driven and led to the success you've been able to achieve, what would those three things be?
Well, I think number one, FYI, is I am a sales type. I'm not a geek. So I think that's relevant here. And as a sales type, an expander personality surrounded with controller types that say we have to manage what this guy brings in. It's persistence. I mean, getting up every day and just grinding. We have a hunter at our company now, this guy's a sales hunter. How do you use a sales hunter? Because every day he sends out letters. Every day he makes his phone calls. He delivers donuts. We call him Donut Man. He stops by businesses regularly and drops off donuts. And when he wins a new account, this guy is so much of a sales hunter that when we say, hey, would you join us and do the turnover call for the new account? He's like, why? All my notes are in the system. I'm going to go get another account. I mean, that is a real sales hunter. That's what I've done my whole career. For most of my career, I scoffed at marketing. Give me a break. I mean, would somebody pick up the phone, get an appointment, go talk to a human, bring in some business? And that's what I've done over the years. It's persistence would be number one. I'd put organization from a sales perspective. If you're talking about sales success, I would put organization on that list. The ability to use a CRM type system, some system. Oh, I was thinking, Chris, I could open the drawer at my office and I've got probably 500 business cards. I mean, it's time to throw them away. I could open the desk drawer behind me here and there's another 300. I mean, just networking, connecting with people, getting business cards, engaging in different ways is a big part of my success. So it is. And then organizing that information, right? I actually met this person. I'm going to somehow organize it, if not a desk drawer, CRM, some sort of contact system where I know this information. Yeah, that continual, consistent reaching out, some sort of organizational system, and then the ability to sell. I was taught by my mentor, Bernie, at IBM. They didn't have Sandler sales back then, but I was trained in the equivalent of Sandler sales. And the ability to run a sell cycle, and what is the key to any sell cycle from my perspective? And at IBM, we did this. I was taught this. I'd be sitting in technical presentations where I don't know what they're talking about for an hour, hour and a half. And then I'd hear them starting to wrap up. I'm like, oh boy, I have to do it's time for me to do my job. What's my job? Next step. Lock in the next step. Don't say, well, we'll get back to you. Lock in the next step. So that's what I go with. Persistence, consistency, some sort of organizational system. Yes, I should throw away my 1,000 business cards, but I'm kind of attached to them. And then a CRM type system. But then the sell cycle, the ability to have a process, a system, a way to get to asking for the order.
That is absolutely key. And I'm shocked today at how many companies that I talk to that really lack in that space. They're like, oh, we've got a sales process, but they really don't. Their sales process is really inward looking instead of outward looking, in my experience. So it makes it hard when I think you're trying to go that way. So no, thank you for sharing that. How did you get started in sales? Was that something you envisioned, like, hey, this is what I want to do the rest of my life? Or what's the story there?
Man, I went to college for a year and a half and dropped out. I'm like, this is crazy. And I went into sales and started selling food to restaurants for 7 years. And then I would submit to anybody on the call, networking, what are your communities? What are the areas that you network in? Well, what are they for me? Yes, I go to church. And so I have a community there of people I connect with. I'm a runner. I've got a running group that I've been running with for decades. That's a group. I golf. I've got 2 or 3 golf groups. I've got my business friends, and I'm in peer groups where we collaborate. So what are the communities that you hang with? And I submit, very important in your career, very important in my career, that at church, in an actual fellowship group, Bernie one day says, you ever think about selling computers? I'm like, yes, absolutely. Next thing, I'm interviewing for an IBM position selling, and got the job. Got the job because, and I realized, Chris, that they're not interviewing me, that I'm interviewing them, because Bernie said, hire this guy. So that put me into technology. I went back to school and took a business class and a computer class. I'm an idiot. And spent the next 5 years getting my bachelor's in business administration. And that's how I got into selling technology. I think that was the question. How did I get into sales? And I think when you're in sales, what gets you up in the morning? Yeah. And I think we all have different answers, I know. And for me, it is one thing, the challenge. And business is the challenge for me. I don't care if it's ping pong, if it's golf, biking, running, business, sales. Somebody give me a challenge. That's how I got into sales. It's just like another game for me.
Hey, we're taking a quick break to thank you for listening to and supporting the Sales Lead Dog podcast. I want to take a moment and tell you about my book, CRM Shouldn't Suck. If your CRM feels more like a black hole for data than something that actually helps your team sell, you're not alone. The book breaks down why CRMs fail for so many businesses and what you can do about it. No fluff, just real strategies that work. So go to crmshouldn'tsuck.com to order your free copy right now. That's right, we're giving it away. And while you're there, take 2 minutes to check out the CRM Impact Score. It's a quick diagnostic that shows you how your CRM is really performing, where it's helping you and where it's hurting you. You'll get a personalized report with clear, actionable next steps you can start right away to maximize your CRM investment. We've also got blogs, videos, and a bunch of other resources to help you finally get the results you were promised when you bought your CRM. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes of Sales Lead Dog. Okay, let's get back to this episode of the Sales Lead Dog podcast. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thinking back to those early years, what was the hardest obstacle for you to overcome?
Well, look, as much as dialing the phone, and when I was at IBM as a business partner and employee for 10 years, when you're in the sales cycle, you've got 2 or 3 going. You're just grinding in the cycle trying to get the sale. And then you pop up, it's like nothing. Now I have to dial the phone and find more. And that's work. And at IBM, they had an open bullpen. And you had to sit there and dial the phone in front of all these tenured suit and tie people. Scared me to death. So I would get in at 7 a.m. to get a private conference room. They had these little private rooms. Yeah. I'd get there early, get a room so I could dial the phone in there. I mean, that's real work. That's tough work. And
it is.
But that's how you get results. I just want to go back to process again, because back then I read a book called, I think it's Selling DeVito. I think it is, but it might be the plan letter book. There's a book, I can't remember the name, about the plan letter. And I implemented that because its concept was, when you have a new opportunity, you send them a letter with what you're going to do each step of the way. And I did this at a local company we're selling a software to and expensive IBM hardware. I sent them the letter, and it had 12 weeks, what we're going to do each week. And the guy called me back and said, I'm on vacation the first week of July. And I said, okay, we can slide that a week. We can work around that. And I hung up the phone and I thought, this deal's done. We won it. We won it. He's going straight down the path. The last step was sign the agreements. And 2.5 months later, we signed that agreement.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I hear this from a lot of sales leaders, and I have to agree with them. People are afraid to pick up the phone these days. They're just scared, and they're relying on email. They're relying on marketing, someone else to do the dirty work for them. Why do you think that is? Why do you think it's that way these days? Why have we gotten so far away from what worked for so long and so well? We just get away from it.
Well, we are in a digital world where people believe that everything's purchased on a website. And I believe that's true, that impressions are made on websites, and that is how people will vet you. But in a business-to-business situation, and especially for a high-value product or service, people are buying from people. And so to put a voice, to put humanity to that relationship, to that opportunity, is what it does. I mean, my guy, Jim, he writes these letters, he sends an email, he follows up with a voicemail. And I maintain that 1 year or 2 or 3 of voicemails or donuts proves the consistency that this person, Chris, first car I bought, I was like 18 years old. It was a Buick X car that was like $5,300. You could buy a brand new car for $5,300. And I wanted to buy one. I walked in the showroom and nobody wanted to talk to me. I was like 17, I was 18, 19 years old.
Right.
I walked out. I went to the other dealership. Guy came right up to me. How can I help you? I want to do business with somebody that wants to do business with me.
Yeah.
Please. And I just sent an email and got a response. We've got an opportunity that's kind of bouncing along. And so I sent an email and said, really like to connect. We want to figure out how to get this done. I think that's important.
Yes.
This person really wants to do business with me. They're calling me. They call me every month for the last 12 months. I think I'll talk to this person. I believe in that.
Yeah. That persistence in showing up, that regular cadence, hey, we're going to show up. And I'm a demonstrating dude during the sales process. I'm very consistent. I'm showing up. I want to connect with you, not just on a business level, but on a personal level. And that's important because people buy from people.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. What was one of the hardest lessons you had to learn as a seller?
I like to tell stories. I like to connect the dots. And I will tell you a lesson I learned selling software. We sold a computer system. And a year and a half later, I walked in and there's an invoice laying on the counter and it had like 28 line items on it. And I said to the young lady at the front desk, did this come out of your new computer system? She said, no, I hand typed that triplicate copy. Like, holy God. I can still see it in my mind right now. Not one mistake. And type.
Yeah.
Well, I had another opportunity a few months later, and I actually dropped the name of the company and said, we're going to make sure that you actually implement this system, because the biggest challenge of buying a new system is implementing it and putting it into use. That's the most important thing. Unlike this company, who a year and a half later still isn't using their system.
Yeah.
Well, I got back to that company.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was a problem. I learned a big lesson there. I mean, stories sell, but that was the wrong way to handle that. I learned a big lesson from that.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, stories are sell, but the last thing you want to do is throw anyone under the bus.
Oops, I
It's
learned
a
that
small
lesson.
world. It is a small world. I had to learn that very early on in my life. And I preach to my kids growing up. Rule number one, they get tired of me. They're in their mid-20s now, but rule number one, be nice to everybody.
Yeah.
Be nice to everybody. Because you number one, you don't know what they're going through. You don't know, and you don't know where you're going to reconnect with them, if you'll ever reconnect with them. But be nice to everybody. Be consistent that way. And it just saves so much potential turmoil or pain.
Yes, indeed.
Yep. What's your favorite thing about selling?
Well, I love the challenge. It is the challenge. And I'll tell you a story right now is we just won an opportunity. We just won an opportunity last week, I think. And our service costs 3 times as much as the previous service. But the nice thing about it is that I was in there 12 years ago, and we've got a CRM system, and the meeting was in there from 12 years ago, and 250 records going back 10 years of email invitations and mailers and so on. And Donut Guy had dropped off donuts for 5 years and called occasionally following up. I mean, to me, that's it. That is so fulfilling for me. I remember it was Sue who won a deal, a new account deal 10 years ago or so. And I congratulated her, and she's like, well, it took me a year and a half. I'm like, Sue, that's exactly the point.
Yeah.
You hung with it for a year and a half. That's what selling is.
Yeah.
And that's what's fulfilling for me. It is the challenge, right?
Yeah.
It's the challenge of going through the ups and the downs and the waiting and the persistence and the loss, and then winning. I mean, that is life to me.
Yeah. But when we implement CRM, and I don't get to train as much as I used to, but when I was training sales teams on CRM and engagement, I throw out the statistic, even with someone who wants to engage with you, it can take up to 20 touches to get them to engage with you.
Yeah.
And I hear this from business sales leaders all the time. My team's given up after 2 emails.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, this lead is crap. I sent them a couple of emails and they never responded. You don't know what's going on in their life. You don't know how busy they are, or they've got a fire that they're dealing with at that time. You got to show up. You got to be persistent. You got to be hungry.
Amen.
To get people to engage with you. Even people that said, hey, I want to talk to you. I just can't right now.
We've got a guy at our church, David, who's the marketing director for a local software company. And I got a notepad with their name on it in the mail and a personal note from David. Now, David goes to my church, so I see him in the lobby. Like, David, well, what's up with this? Well, I send out 10 a day. You send out 10 notepads a day? Yeah, to referral type people. And you sit down every day, write a personal note and put this stuff in the mail. Yeah, that's my thing right now. And he did that for 2 years. I was getting stuff in the mail from him.
Yeah.
Brought him right to the front of my mind. That, how long I don't know, might have taken 45 minutes a day, sit down, do that work, but just consistent execution.
Yes. Yeah. And I think there's a real opportunity for sales leaders to go back and examine just how persistent is my team?
Yep.
Are we truly following through? It's very tough. It's very competitive out there. People have a lot of choices. And we need to be in front of them at the time they're willing to make another choice.
Amen. That's the key.
That's the key. That's the only way it's going to happen is you have to be front of mind when they're ready to engage.
Exactly.
Yeah. They're not just going to come to us because, hey, I'm out here, drop whatever you're doing. It doesn't work that way. Yeah.
Here.
Yep.
SEO is great. SEO is great. They're going to find me on the web. Better to be there when they're ready to make a decision.
Yep. I know from the conversation we had before I hit record on this session, you're very passionate about developing your team. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that as a leader, I'm trying to lead by example. And I was in the office today where it's a snowstorm. I really didn't have any reason to go to the office.
Yeah.
I drove to the office for five hours and just said hello to people. So leading by example in showing up at work, even though we're hybrid, you can work from the home office if you want. Showing up, leading by example, connecting with clients, I still do that. So from a leadership perspective, that's a big part of what I do. Secondly, very important to be congruent is a skill, a concept that it really resonates with me. A congruent line being a parallel line, that I would be forthright, authentic, direct with you. And so in a sales leadership position, that means I'm going to be clear with what I think it takes for you to be successful. And I'm not even going to sugarcoat it because, I don't want to put too much pressure on you. These are my expectations, being very clear about that. And then let's go on this journey together. Let's win together. Let's have fun together is a big part of leadership to me. So leading by example, and then being very clear about expectations for greatness, right?
Yep. What are the characteristics you're looking for in the people that you've tapped on the shoulder and said, hey, I want you to consider a leadership path?
Oh, leadership path. Yeah, I think, what has John Maxwell said? Leaders have followers. And so there's such a variety there. We've got a very quiet leader in our company. There's a difference between a leader and a manager, right?
Oh, big time.
Leaders have followers. And this guy is on the leadership management team. But when he speaks, who is E.F. Hutton, when Brian speaks, people listen. Yeah. And that is a leader. He's authentic. And he shows up and does the work. So that's what I'm looking in a leader. People who will be followed, people that do the work, people that are willing to learn. And then the personality types, the characteristics in a DISC profile, they vary. But are you someone that people respect and follow is so much key.
Yeah. I read a book early on in my career. My dad played a big role mentoring me in my development as a leader. And he gave me a book to read I was in my early 20s. And there was a story in that book that explained the difference between a leader and a manager. And they said, think of a sheep herder who he's out in front of his flock and the flock is willingly following him where he wants it to go. Managers at the back of the flock with a stick, trying to whack them, trying to force them to go in the direction he wants them to go. And who do you want to be?
Yeah.
Do you want to be the person in front leading, or do you want to be the person with a stick behind whacking and trying to force them to go in a direction?
Yeah.
And that's always stuck with me.
Rather be leading by example and then leading by example congruently, but unapologetically, unapologetically. And when you're leading a company like mine, it's we're going here. Come with me. Please come with. And by the way, if you don't want to be part of the team, part of the culture, part of where we're going, please leave.
Yeah.
But we are going there. Let's go together. Let's have fun. Let's climb that mountain. Let's do this thing.
Yeah. How did you create the culture at i3?
I think culture, we could talk for hours, Chris, but in West Michigan, a lot of families here, soccer games, basketball games, school events, picking kids up from school. I mean, that's our culture. Get the work done. My former partner, Kathy, and I built a culture of measurement. We measure your performance and process excellence. Follow the process and we will measure your performance. So beyond that, let's have a lot of fun. Let's support your family. We're going to be flexible. And so that's the culture that we've built. We're a technology company that has to deliver SLAs and performance. So it's very important that we hit these marks. So we need to be clear again, unapologetically. You come to work here, this is what's expected. And then, you need to pick up your child from school at 3:15 every day. We understand that. So we built that kind of culture.
Yeah, I love that. I've always had that attitude like, hey, I know you've got stuff going on in your life. I have stuff going on in my life. We'll work around it. We'll be flexible, but let's get the work done.
Yeah.
We still have to deliver for our clients, but we can massage everything else, you know? Yep. And that accountability piece, I've noticed that, and I don't want to be an ageist here, but I noticed with younger people coming into the workforce, they don't understand accountability. That I view it as, hey, I'm using this as a learning tool for you, not as a punishment tool, but I want you to become as good as you possibly can be. So I'm going to point out things that you can do better. And I'll show you and explain why we need you to do it this way. Some people love that. Other people are like, how dare you? Do you have any experience with that? And how do you handle that within your organization?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think we now have 4 generations in our company. I mean, if you include 19, 20-year-olds and then 40-year-olds, and
Yeah.
it's amazing. But I just want to talk a minute about soft skills and my journey. And we hired a very expensive consultant 20 years ago to help us with some major 4 partners and 3 managers, some major conflicts. And in business, we talk about the hard skills. And I say to people, please specialize in something. If you can specialize in something, you're going to do really well. And so choose that thing, learn about it, become a specialist, be that person. That's the hard skills. You're a firewall expert, you're some technical specialty, you're a CPA, you're an accountant, you're a salesperson in this area with very specialized knowledge. Perfect. But the soft skills are, can I communicate and get along with people? And that's where congruence, number 1 skill, congruence. I'll be clear with you about what I want, what I think, what I feel. So I'd be clear with you about my expectations for your performance here. Secondly, I will listen empathically to what you want, what you feel, what you think. And thirdly, I will hold you in unconditional positive regard. Characteristically, you're very different than me. I still hold you in highest regard. So those skills, applying the skills generationally to say, well, you think it's mean that I say, this is the performance I need from you. I understand that. I respect that. I think I understand. Are you saying you feel this way? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it's mean of you. Okay, I understand that. And I want to be clear what I want, what I need for this business, what the culture needs from you, not apologizing for that. And then third, still holding you in unconditional positive regard for being dramatically different than me. Those are soft skills that any salesperson can use, any leader can use, any spouse, family member, friend can use.
And we can use those in our relationships with our customers too.
Hear, hear.
I think that's a huge part of our role as sales people, is to be able to understand that sometimes there's conflict when you're selling and misalignment when you're selling. But there's still a path to work through that.
Yes, indeed. If we can only listen to the client instead of sending. I'm a sender. I work hard at listening. I like to talk, Chris. I like to send. I like to tell. I like to sell. Could I shut up and listen? I work hard at it.
Oh, I love to talk. I love to educate. Love to educate people. Ask me a question, I'll educate you for hours.
Yeah, there you go.
And I have to work very hard. I've repeated the same active listening course, I think 3 times, to just remind myself, shut up, Chris, and listen. Let them talk.
Yes, I can relate.
Yeah. What makes you happy as a sales leader, away from closing deals? But where do you derive your happiness from in your role as a leader?
Some would say, I think there are some. Well, certainly in a technology company, there are technology people that don't understand how hard it is to sell. And so in some ways, some would say, go get this exact type of account. That's what we want. Like how hard it is to get exactly that account. No, they don't know. So what is fulfilling for me is the years of winning new accounts and slaying the dragon, great fun. But very fulfilling for me to see our hunter guy, Jim, win this account and other accounts. And some would say, well, they found us on the website. Anybody could have sold that. Wrong. The persistence it takes to be in that position and have the skill to do that work and the bandwidth to do that work is real. And so I value that. It's very fulfilling for me to see any sales rep, any sales rep in our company win deals, do the work, win the deal.
Yeah. Yep. I remember as I'm listening, I'm thinking like how many times early on in my career, I thought I had the deal won and I just didn't understand. There's a lot that can happen between the customer committing verbally and getting that ink on a contract. A lot that can happen and that I have to keep selling. You got to keep selling. You got to keep engaging until you've got that ink on a contract. And sometimes that check in the door after you've got the ink on the contract, you need that first check as well. And to just shift my perspective on that. And for me personally, I love to close deals, but I love to see the impact we have on our customers. And that my kids ask me all the time, like, Dad, what is it that you do? Can you explain to me what you do? Because they hear CRM and they have no idea what that means. And I just try to explain to them that it's like, my job is to help companies succeed, to grow and achieve their goals. And when that happens, they're hiring more people, they're paying their employees. That's what really makes me happy, is knowing that I'm having that type of an impact.
Yeah, that's a value delivery. And that's a lesson for any salesperson also is, and I say it to my company, because another technology comes out and we're going to sell it. And we kind of offer an all-you-can-eat package, includes everything. Right. And then they're like, well, now we have to go sell this? I mean, isn't it included? Like, we do not apologize for the value we deliver and the fact that technology is changing. And we need to offer you more, and it costs money. We do not apologize. And I think in the journey of sales, where salespeople are often maligned, right? The used car sales person maligned. No, we do not apologize for delivering value in the form of our services, CRM or managed services at our company. And to see the fulfillment of that, the value, the impact of that is substantial. Now, I will be congruent. I will be forthright and authentic with you. I'm a little different than you. I love the challenge of the win.
Yeah.
It's the business, the sales, the whatever it is, the milestone. I'm kind of that goal milestone challenge person. And the only way you hit milestones and goals and get sales is if you are delivering real value that has an impact, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Shifting gears a bit, CRM, do you love it or do you hate it?
I love it. I used Act originally, the PC version of Act, to organize, email, track activities, and so on. I'm some sort of data person. I track my kids' data. I track my running data. I track data. I don't always analyze it, but I track it. So I'm pro CRM, used Act in the past, and organizing information to recall the history and then move forward. Absolutely.
And the key there is, and it doesn't, I don't care what tool you're using, find a tool and use it.
Yeah.
And because it helps you create structure and gives you insight, and but it's a tool. It's not going to it's not a silver bullet. It's not going to solve bad process. It's not going to do things for you automatically necessarily. It's a tool that you have to leverage the right way. Tell us a bit about the way you guys are leveraging CRM the right way at i3 Business Solutions.
In our industry, you can hire a firm to do telemarketing for you anytime. I get these calls, I meet them at conferences, and I've never done it. I've hired dozens of sales reps, some good, some bad. But they've always been in our CRM system, tracking activities, tracking meetings. I believe in that. So that's the key. Our CRM system goes back 15 years. And my son is in the business now and will win a new account. And he'll say it came in from the web. And I'll go to the account, type it in and say, no, actually, like I said earlier, I was in there 12 years ago. And 245 emails and activities in the last 12 years. Yeah. They're in our drip system. I will submit that. One of the things I learned from a consultant in the industry here is that marketing is valuable. Okay, I drank that Kool-Aid 7 years ago, and we started doing drip marketing, emails, webinars, physical mailers, telemarketing. Oh my gosh. Apparently, part of selling is telemarketing, which is marketing. Yeah. So I understand that concept now. And CRM gives you the ability to organize and track that and raise to priority, right? Opportunities that need to be followed up on in 3 months or in a year. And then furthermore, the extension of the CRM into web tracking and so on. I mean, so much power in a good CRM product.
Oh, there really is. It's the foundation of having, I think, successful sales engagement, sales processes, really delivering for your customer. It all begins with a strong foundation built in your CRM.
Yeah, I mean, we've got competitors in our CRM system, and private equity is buying more and more of our competitors. Yeah. And so they just bought a local company, and my son went in and found 12 companies that are in there doing business with them. We know what happens when PE comes in. It churns a little bit. It's like, okay, let's elevate the priority of those accounts. I mean, how can you run a business without it?
No, exactly. Michael, you're one of those guys I could just keep talking to, but we're at our time here on Sales Lead Dog. Thank you so much for coming on the show. If people want to reach out and connect with you, if they want to learn more about i3 Business Solutions, what's the best way for them to do that?
Sure. We're at i3bus.com. It's I3, the letter I, the number 3, bus.com in Grand Rapids, Michigan. You can email me, Ritsema, at i3bus.com. And you're always welcome to call the company and ask for me, 616-719-4100.
If you didn't catch that, no worries. It's in our show notes. You can get that at impellercrm.com/sales lead dog, where you get not only the show notes for this episode, but all our, I think, close to 170 episodes now. Be sure to check that out. Be sure to subscribe to the show so you get all our future episodes as well. Greatly appreciate that. And be sure to look for us on social media. Mike, thank you so much again for coming on Sales Lead Dog, and welcome to the Sales Lead Dog Pack.
Thank you. Great to be here. I love to talk sales and leadership.
As we end this discussion on Sales Lead Dog, be sure to subscribe to catch all our episodes. On social media, follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Watch the videos on YouTube, and you can also find our episodes on our website at impellercrm.com/Sales Lead Dog. Sales Lead Dog is supported by Impeller CRM, delivering objectively better CRM for business, guaranteed.